Welcome to Change Management Review and an experiment. I'm Brian Gorman. I'm managing editor of Change Management Review, and I'm also a coach, and recently was coaching a client who had moved from the division that it's been in his organization his entire career to a new division. And he said to me, "I'm not the smartest man in the room anymore." And I said, "Well, how do you become the smartest man in the room?" And his answer was, you tap into all the smarts that are in the room. So as I'm watching the answers to the poll here, we have one person out of 18 who said virtually all of the time they get the support they need from their change leaders and sponsors. 61% of you are saying less than half the time or almost never. So we're going to be using all the smartness in the room today in order to figure out how you might better access the leadership support you need in the change initiatives you're working with. So let me end the poll. The way we're going to be doing this, you can see the results of the poll on screen. The way we are going to be doing this is I'm going to be sending you into breakout rooms twice. And in the breakout rooms, you'll have access to a whiteboard. So I'm going to show you how we do that first, answer any questions, and then put you in the breakout rooms. We'll be in the breakout rooms for about 20 minutes, come back and report out, and then go back into the breakout rooms for the second piece of addressing this leadership challenge. I'm going to put in the chat before I send you into breakout rooms a URL. And the URL will take you to a Jamboard, a Google Jamboard that looks like this. You're not actually leaving Zoom, leaving the breakout room. In essence, you're doing calling up on your screen a website, if you will, that you can work on. There are a number of boards here. Each one is numbered in accordance with the breakout room that you're in. So if you're in room 1, your breakout room will be working on board 1. If you're in room 2, and you can see right up toward the top next to where it says Change Management Review, Change Leadership, you can move between frames. Room 2 will work on the room 2 board, and so forth. When you get into your breakout room, the first thing I would ask is that you spend just 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm going to break you into groups of about 5 people. Spend no more than 4 or 5 minutes introducing yourselves to one another, doing a little bit of networking. And then going to ask you in the first breakout to address 2 questions. Why we don't get adequate change leadership support. What are some of the symptoms of that? But then I'm going to ask you also to start digging deeper about the root causes. Now, in your room, however you want to organize is great. Whether everybody wants to just go at it all at once, or whether you want to have somebody sort of take over the board and work with it that way. All you need to do, if you look over here below the arrow, is a icon that says sticky note. If you press that, a sticky note will open up. You can type whatever you want to say on that and click save or click enter, and the note will go on the board. Once you go off of the sticky note, that icon closes, and then you can move the notes around. You can make them larger, smaller. When we debrief, I'll bring your boards up and ask each group to have one spokesperson to debrief.
Hi there. Sorry I'm late. I was stuck on a client meeting.
That's never happened to me. Everybody's in breakout rooms. They're going to be back in about 3 minutes. So
okay.
You're stuck with me at the moment.
Oh, that's fine. I'm so sorry. I hate
No
being,
problem.
but I'm so excited about this topic. So thank you for allowing me to participate.
What they're doing right now is sort of brainstorming around how does this show up and what are some of the root causes. So when they come back, they'll debrief and then we'll send them back and I'll add you to a breakout room to.
Perfect.
So what do we do about it?
Great, great. I've been there.
Yeah, we actually did a poll and more than half the people said that something less than half the time they have the support that they need.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Only one person said I get it most or all the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty successful with it. I'm currently on a project for a major biopharmaceutical organization, and they have invested heavily in change management, and it's been the catalyst for them to be successful, and they're launching in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it's been going on since June, but the project has been going on before I joined for 2 years.
So I know back in the early 2000s, I was actually on Counterpartners team with Merck when they were doing their global transformation, and they are still very intentionally applying change management in several of the divisions there.
Yeah, it's quite exciting because I came on board with 7 Summits, I guess April of 2021, and we were absorbed by IBM. So what I get to do is bring all the best practices. I was hired to grow their center of excellence and grow the change management practice within 7 Summits. And now I get to join the team with IBM, which is just going to be so terrific. And it turns out that I worked with my partner, my colleague, 25 years ago at Deloitte.
Oh, wow.
For change management and talent acquisition. So it's quite exciting.
Have you met people at IBM yet?
A few.
Have you met Karen Frank?
No, I don't quite know how that we're going to have a reporting structure, but I'm in the business transformation services group. And again, it's all like
I have
coming to
no idea where
now.
Karen is.
No, but I'll look her up.
She's a longtime friend in the field.
And her Carol Frank, you said?
Karen Frank, yeah.
Great. I'll look her up in the directory. And then I'll say that I attended your
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually meeting with Karen this afternoon.
Oh, please mention my name to her. That'd be great. Well, pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
I think everyone's coming back now.
Yep.
Recorded.
Is being recorded. Being recorded.
Okay, welcome back. Were people able to use the Jamboards?
No, not us.
Okay, I apologize for that. I'm not sure what the problem was, but
we had read-only access. We didn't have edit access.
Yeah,
Sure.
we weren't able to share our screen, share it within the group. I don't know whether that was intended.
Each one of you would go on your own.
Oh, okay.
Internet.
We don't have
if you
editor
will.
access to be able to write.
I will fix that for the second time around, but for now, group one, what did you identify as some of the most critical root causes?
Kelly or Dick, do you want to speak to that?
I actually wrote them down because I'm going to take them back to my office. Some of our main ones, is the follow-up, the reporting, the having champions as ownerships has related to me. And then we discuss release management relating to IT. There's a monthly update. And so has that change in education come from there? And just the lack of knowing. And then we discussed the new world of virtual communication is also the change of how to move forward with that.
Okay. Anyone else from group one, room one, want to add anything to that? How about room two?
I got to be honest with you, I'm not sure which room we were in.
That's what I was going to say too, Hugh. I'm not sure what room number we were.
Okay, so how about Hugh and Ayana's room? Go for it.
Hugh, you go first, and then our room will go next.
Okay. Well, we really talk more about the symptoms, what's going on within the organization. With it, we really, Jennifer gave some wonderful insights around, the nervousness of people, around, what's going on, organizational change taking place, project changes taking place, a lot of different changes going on. Some leaders wanting to communicate, other leaders not so hot around communication. And then Dave joined us and brought his wisdom and, sort of really talked to the fear factor that is existing in the in organizations, how there's just a lack of ownership, how it's not been pushed down into the organization, a lack of celebration to a certain extent. And that accountability and responsibility of getting it sort of working and getting it really well understood with it, within the whole business.
Okay. Anything else from Hugh's room? Room three or?
Oops, I'm sorry, Brian, this is Dave. And April, we haven't met. I'm just looking at your poster, and this is the perfect example of what sometimes doesn't happen with change. And, their famous phrase, ready, fire, aim. Instead of ready, set, change, it's ready, change, set. No one has a level of expectation when this change is going on. Everyone just assumes that this change is going to occur organically and naturally, and everybody's going to be accepting. So I love that statement, is just photo setting, literally and figuratively, the mindset that you need to set expectations. So great visual there.
Okay. Next room, whether it's room three or one that hasn't spoken yet, if you don't know your room number.
Cardina, do you want to represent us? You're on mute.
Anyway, I wasn't clear about what room we were in, so Ayana,
That's
if you
okay.
don't mind doing it, I would like that, or Yvonne, either Ayana or Yvonne.
Okay, I'll go. So we talked about some of the symptoms we see is poor consequence management when people are doing something or not doing what the leader wants them to do. They slow down progress by not removing roadblocks. There's poor alignment and confusion about expectations. Priorities often change, and the change just doesn't occur. And some of the root causes about which we talked is, well, they haven't made it a priority. Maybe there are too many changes that they're trying to manage, and the one that I'm trying to manage just isn't a top priority for them. They're not ready for the change. Maybe there's some fear. Maybe they are fearful that implementing this change will make them lose something, power, control, influence, their job, whatever. And so on paper, they're the change lead and they're supposed to be leading this change, but in their hearts, they don't even want it to happen. And so And then the final one that I have written is lack of an understanding of the value that the change will bring. So conceptually they say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but they haven't really brought to heart what that change really brings to the table in terms of value.
Great. Next room. We've got 2 rooms we haven't heard from.
Well, we were in room 5. We did know our room number. So we get points for that, don't we?
Gold star,
I think,
gold star, Tricia.
actually, it was the first question they asked me when I joined. What room are we in, Trish? I'm like, well, we're in room 5. One of the things here, we talked about a lot of root causes. So that leaders really simply do not know what their role is. Not only do they not understand what the components, the basic components of change, there's phases, etc., but they really don't understand their role. And I think, Roberta, you mentioned there's like 21 different change models out there. I was thinking, can you imagine the brain surgeon that you're going to go have surgery? Well, I have 21 different ways of doing this. Which one would you like me to use, you know? So
Diane?
others in room 5?
Anyone have anything else that
That
you
was
want to?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. She's right. And I think that, we cited the fact that, and it's already been touched on with April's poster, that they want to just jump in and get it done, get busy. And they don't want to take that planning time to really understand and grasp the responsibility of the role and the authority that it requires and the influence that it brings to the table. So when they don't want to bring all of that, those begin to be holes that show up later, and we see the consequences as a result.
Okay. Do we have any other?
I don't think I heard this one, but one of the ones that I thought was there was not enough emphasis on really addressing roadblocks, some of which require structural change. And the people don't want to, and that's going to take time, and a lot of people don't want to deal with that.
Okay, great. Okay, going to send you back in. We give you about 12 minutes so that we have time to report out again on the so what? How do you address these challenges? How have you been successful in the past, and what might you do when you go back to the virtual office or the real office tomorrow or even this afternoon?
Being recorded.
Okay, so welcome back. Who wants to start? How do we tackle this problem of change leaders not giving us the support we need?
Guess we can start. We're
Okay.
group 5. We'll go backwards this time. So we did mention, it was mentioned in our group about tying successes to projects that have had an active sponsor to let others know that their buddies are doing it. So maybe they don't want to be left out. They need to do it as well. So, kind of peer pressure. But, and then building a story with success and the change management involvement, making them aware of the change management portion. And then we talked about, it was mentioned about change leadership as a competency and working with senior leadership team. And Tricia, do you remember any of the others that I may have left off?
Well, we talked the one thing about FOMO. So something, this was one key thing that I really appreciated about some of the ProSci work was about the coalition building and influencing. And those folks that will, if their fear of missing out, if they start seeing their buddies being successful or whatever, then maybe they'll get on board. So it's kind of like stealth, covert change management. So.
Great. Thank you. Another report out.
Well, just to build on that, Tricia, we're in group 4. So thank you Jerry, yeah, we're moving backwards. You know, what we were talking about was the celebrations, the quick wins, you know, having people when they're doing something that's truly supporting that change, getting out there, leaders getting out there and truly recognizing them, because there becomes a domino effect within the rest of the organization that people say, oh, wow, I can do that. I've got better ideas. I've got new ideas. You know, taking a leaderful approach within the whole organization, understanding not just the why, but what, how we're going to do this, you know, and really just communicating. Just it's about communicating and coaching people. And leaders being visible, not invisible, but out there talking with people about what's going on and listening and building a trust and relationship that's going to create those conversations to become much richer within the organization.
Great, thank you. Who else?
I can share what we talked about in group 2, skipping a group. One of the things that I found to be quite successful in that area is just having a conversation with the sponsors in advance, like a bit of a contract setting to say, you know, in your role as sponsor, these are the things that you know, are expected. And then in my role as your change manager, these are the things that I'll do. And I'll do that so that you can realize the benefits that you're trying to realize, not that I'm trying to realize as your change manager, but that you are trying to realize as a sponsor. So it's just having that open, honest, transparent conversation to kind of set the stage, and then kind of revisit it every once in a while if things are going a little off track, but just really setting those boundaries up front.
Beautiful, thank you. What else do we have?
Eduardo, do you want to speak, or would you prefer I did for our group?
No, please go ahead, lady.
Okay, so we were group 3, and we hit upon a lot of the things that were already said, so I won't reiterate them. That communication was definitely a main driver. And for accountability, we said do readiness assessments to understand what the root cause is, at what level within the organization, and have end users part of the process. Create champion networks so that you can bring that feedback up through two-way communication to the project team and leadership. And then the final thing was hold leadership workshops on change to bring these root causes on how to mitigate the risk in the project for lack of adoption. And at the end, we all kind of shared a little story that I had where at the end of our workshops, we have leadership and the executive sponsor all together, and they write a charter. And that charter gets sent to them like a certificate. And that has to sit in their office, and they have to look at that every day. And they kick off the champion meetings once a week. And those individuals then say what they did as a leader to kind of pull down and pick up that person. And then that inspires the champions, the super users, and then you know, somebody brings up a conversation and they disagree, acknowledge that and set an appointment for further discussion in front of everyone so they feel valued. And those things seem to really transcend and help move change slowly, but consistent input from the leadership is critical. And yes, I can share something with Brian by the end of the week, if that's okay, because I'm under deadlines. Yep. And it'll be a blank charter, but we just fill it in.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kathy.
My pleasure.
What else do we have here? We have a few minutes left.
Kathy, this is Dave Kudis, and I love what you guys talked about and communicated. And one of the things that we actively do in some of the transformation projects is at the beginning of every meeting, and again, if the charter's too long, you can't do this, but maybe you synthesize it to 1 or 2 sentences and you start every meeting with that charter. You know, this is our mission, this is our goal. And so everyone is, you know, they may get tired of it, we've been told that, but it gets absorbed,
Yes,
and
good
yeah,
point.
right. Brian and I have had conversations about, what the emotions are, but also
Mhm.
what gets caught up in that mnemonic device of memorization and ritual.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yep.
Anyway.
Plus a good champion song always helps too.
Yeah, well, between us, we should get something that's a different version of the Queen song. You're absolutely right. So.
Yeah, I tell you, our group was mostly European and they picked out this, I don't know, punk, funk, whatever kind of like huge rap band. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And they're like, we got to use it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's called like Technological or something crazy like that. And I'm like, I can't listen to this. But they got into it.
Any other brief
We're in
success
group
stories?
one. I didn't know if group one had a chance and if Dick or Angela wanted to speak for our group, or Kelly. Angela had to go to a meeting.
Yeah,
Kelly's
okay,
on
no worries. No, I think we pretty much concluded what everyone else has been sharing. So not really anything new, just, I think frustrated in our own endeavors, but as I share with my team that I have a meeting with the project sponsor in a couple of days, and they encourage me to say, what do you want out of this? How do you see this rolling out? And to, like you all been saying, continually engage them. Okay, here's where we are. Is this where you want to be? How can you help spread the word? And to have everybody be part of the gospel. Absolutely.
Okay, this was an experiment, so thank you all. We would appreciate it if you just leave a brief note in the chat if you want us to continue this with some different topics in the future. Coming up, the first Thursday of March is an open networking hour, and that's just into breakout rooms, meet people, come back, break out again, meet people, break out again. And then picking up on the fine print of April's sign, on the third Wednesday of March, we have a panel on simplifying change management.
Oh.
And we'll have Ed Pike, who operates out of London. We'll have Brendan Baker, who operates out of Canberra, Australia. And we will have Erica Anderson, who's just outside of New York City, all of whom are really striving to find ways to simplify change management. So that should be a really good conversation, and Teresa Moulton will be hosting that. So thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your engagement. Please give us your feedback as to whether you think we should try this again. And if you think we should, give us some ideas on what you'd like to explore with your fellow change practitioners in the chat. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Brian.
Great.
Nice to meet everyone.
Hey, Brian,
Yes.
are you going to be sending out a listing of the individuals that attended with their email addresses? Do you do that?
No, typically not.
Okay.
We sometimes do that in the networking, but not today.
Okay, I just wanted to know. Thank you very much.
And Brian, real quick, what was the date of the panel
The
discussion
panel
again?
is the third Wednesday
Third
at noon
Wednesday.
Eastern, right?
Thank you.
Great. Thanks,
And
Brian.
even Kathy, if you can't make it, sign up, because that will give you access to the recording.
Thank you so much. No, I'm going to clear my schedule and make sure I'm there. I really enjoyed today. It helped me a lot.
Good.
Thank you. Be well.